Our next speaker is John Belmonte with AutoVitals, and I'm pretty excited about that. And we don't get to see him very much, so it's really great. And thanks for being here.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much, Jim, of course. And so actually myself and Lauren Tunin are going to present for the next, call it 20, 30 minutes. What's the theme? What's the primary theme of our presentation and whatnot? And really it comes down to why there is such a strong fit. So we'll talk a bit about our tools. We'll talk a bit about the idea of digital inspections and making your shop a lot more efficient. But from a high level, I think the most important thing is talking about the bridging the gap. So getting from strategy and getting from concepts and ideas and translating those actually into tools so that you can get real results. So if you could advance, Lauren. So I don't need to spend much time here talking about the point that Dr. Hale made, which is, look, folks are on this call because they believe in ATI's strategic coaching method, right? They believe in digging in, really understanding how a shop is running their business today, and then providing insights and providing coaching for how to and tangible ways of improving. And we feel like we fit right in, just snugly right alongside that model, where our digital tools, we've like to said, we've said for years, we're not a company that's about just handing you a tool, handing you a solution, saying, great, we're looking forward to getting your check every month and hopefully you get some value out of this, right? I mean, we are in many regards kindred spirits with ATI in that we are much more about the results and we're much more about what we call shop success than when we are about a technology product and just kind of putting it out there, right? It's kind of why we call it a full solution. So, what we want to do is we want to walk you through some of the details behind some of the most important digital tools that we offer. And then we're going to translate that into how the combination and the partnership between ATI strategy and ATI best practices overlaps with what we're doing from a digital tools and digital solution standpoint. And then what are some of the measurable results that you end up with? We'll do our best to kind of take two angles here, right? One is how does a shop owner kind of think about it, but then also how does an ATI coach think about it, and what are the benefits? Sound good? Lauren, over to you.
Sweet. Happy to be here. Hello, everyone. It's nice to see everyone's face again. So like John said, we're going to go through each slide is titled with one of the ATI best practices that we know you guys are focusing on, coaches you're focusing on with your shops, and then shops you've heard thousands and thousands of times probably from your ATI coach. And then again, we're going to talk about how our technology helps you get there. So I'm sure everyone on this call has either heard 1,000 times that it's important to set expectations with the customer at drop-off, or you've told your shops 1,000 times this. And you also probably recommend setting a clear drop-off script, training the service advisors at the front counter on that drop-off script, and then from there, measuring how well that's working in your shop. Probably the easiest measure of how effective your service advisors are in your business is average repair order value. And then you have to go back and see what are the things that are leading to that. Well, with AutoVitals' digital vehicle inspection process, we actually make this really easy for shops because as soon as a digital vehicle inspection is sent to a customer, we measure how long the customer actually looks at the digital vehicle inspection report. This is a great measure of, did the service advisor follow the drop-off script and set expectations with the customer that, number one, they're going to be receiving a DVI? Did they tell them why it's important that they look at it? And then when they're on the phone with the customer talking through the work and what the customer needs to either approve or disapprove, did they ask the customer to go back and reference that digital vehicle inspection report? So you can see here, the results are quite astounding. So this is actually real shop data. So this is an aggregate of all of our shops from 2024. We didn't leave anyone out. Like, this is truly a reflection of every shop that is using AutoVitals. And you'll see when a customer looks at the digital inspection report for less than 100 seconds, so let's call it about a minute, that shop's ARO is typically in the $500 range. That's good. That's still above the industry average for 2024. But I'm sure most of the shops on this call and then coaches, you want your shops to be achieving even more than that. As you can see, as you move to the right of the graph, the longer that a customer is looking at the digital vehicle inspection report, the higher the arrow goes. It has a direct correlation. So our best shops, they're getting the customers looking at the inspection report for over 400 seconds. And you can expect when you do that, your arrow is going to be in the $1,000 range. So this is a really great way for shops when they have this data to go back and be measuring, like, are my service advisors using the digital tools that we have in our shop, like digital vehicle inspections, well? And is that translating into revenue? So if you see, we can report by service advisor. One service advisor has an average customer research time of 140 seconds, and then service advisor 2 has an average customer research time of 320 seconds. You can go back, listen to the phone calls, see what those service advisors are doing differently, and then coach your service advisors in your business to be more effective when they're setting expectations, when they're at the front counter. So you can start moving to the right of this graph. Next, in terms of best practices, again, everyone on this call should be extraordinarily familiar with this, is improving service advisor and technician communication. Now, I have the pleasure of talking to hundreds of our clients and shops every year, and I don't think I've ever talked to a shop that does not want to improve the communication between their staff. That's because in a typical shop setup, there's just a physical distance that creates barriers, right? Ideally, the technicians are out in the bays and the service advisors are at the front counter talking to customers. So just in that, there's going to be delays in communication. Number two, it's probably one of the things that happens every single day in a shop that just silently kills revenue, is delays in communications, miscommunications. And then on top of that, oftentimes in a shop, there might be a communication barrier between service advisors and technicians, whether that's a language barrier, or they just have different communication styles. One person thinks they're being super clear when they tell another person, hey, the parts are going to be here later than we thought. And then the other person is like, oh, I thought that meant 30 minutes delayed, not 2 hours delayed, right? So one of the best parts of the AutoVitals solution is also one of the simplest parts of our platform is we have team and vehicle specific chat. So this screenshot here that you're seeing is a screenshot of what our chat actually looks like. So number one, if a technician is working on a vehicle, they're going to have all their vehicles that they're working on for the day in their chat. And then if they have a specific question they need to ask the service advisor, they want to provide an update, they can send it directly in the vehicle specific chat. So service advisor immediately knows what vehicle this is about, where the update is, and everything is documented and timestamped. So folks can go back, they don't need to leave their workstation, etc. Additionally, you can do direct messages, group messages with the entire team here. Again, so like it functions pretty much as like any text message, Facebook Messenger chat that you're familiar with. And you would be very surprised at how much time this saves even the most efficient shops, just from folks having to walk back and forth, ask questions multiple times. On top of that, we also have for the service advisors in their workflow screen, so that's basically their home screen and AutoVitals, they can easily view the inspection progress as well as how many jobs have been completed, how many build hours have been completed, and how many are remaining. Again, this just saves a ton of time of service advisors having to walk back, get updates from the technician, when again, they can just clearly see it from their home screen. They don't need to walk to the back of the shop. They don't need to even ask a question because all of this is being tracked in real time and they have real-time visibility to each repair order in the shop. Also, John, I see some chats coming through, so if you could just watch that and please interrupt me if anyone has a question that's relevant. Cool. All right, moving on. I think this is probably one of the most important slides that we have today, just given the state of the industry of technicians being the most valuable resource I think any auto repair business has right now. On top of them good and efficient technicians being extraordinarily hard to find currently. Also, if you don't have anyone to fix the cars, you're obviously not going to have an auto repair business, right? So in this current state, it is super important that you are getting the most out of the technicians you currently have in your business. Of course, we would all love to go out and hire 2 or 3 more techs that love your business, are A techs that are doing work and they're super excited to be in your business, but that is getting harder and harder to find technicians that fit that bill. So what's really important is having tools in your shop to help the ones that you do have be more efficient and more profitable for your business. The best way to measure that is in technician efficiency. And ATI typically recommends getting this technician efficiency to above 100%. Now, to calculate that for every technician in your business, for every day, every week, every month, if you tried to do that manually, I don't even know how you would do that manually. It's going to be a ton of work. You're going to have a ton of spreadsheets up. It's probably going to drive you crazy. The great news is with AutoVitals system, we can track this for you. So we have time clocking and job clocking built into the technician app when they're going through the digital vehicle inspections. So that way we are calculating the technician efficiency on each job they're doing, on each repair order, for the week, for the month, however you want to split the data. You can report on it by all technicians and all activities and all repair orders, or you can filter down if you only want to look at 1 or 2 of your techs, etc. And then we're going to measure what their technician efficiency is, their productivity, their proficiency, how many hours they've worked in the time period, all of that for you, for your shop. So you can just go in here into our report and find out everything you need to know about how efficient your technicians are and find where there's areas of opportunity to prove efficiency. For instance, do you have one technician that's super efficient at brake jobs and is able to get them done really quickly? And say you're billing 2 hours for something, they're able to get it done in an hour and a half. And then you have another technician that's actually very inefficient at brake jobs. They're not very good at them and it's taking them longer. Well, then it's going to tell you in your business, we should reassign repair orders or labor lines that have brake jobs to the technician that's more efficient. And then where can we prioritize other work for that other technician? So you're working with the resources you have in your business to be getting as much out the door as quickly as possible. Great. Moving on to the next best practice. Now, I'm sure a lot of the shops that are on this call are thinking to themselves, like, increasing car count is probably the last thing on my mind, especially as we head into the summer months, which are typically busier for most shops. However, it's really important that even when you're busy, you are marketing to your clients and you're planning 3 months ahead, because a trap that a lot of shops fall into is it's really busy. Things are going really well. We're making a lot of money. The shop might think, I don't have time to be sending service reminders, to be getting on the phone, talking to clients, asking when they're going to come in for declined services. I don't have time to go send out a mailer or a text to all of my clients, reminding them that, hey, we're really busy right now, but in 2 months, we're going to have a lot of openings if you wanted to get those shocks and struts done. It's hard when you're busy. You don't have time to do everything. But ATI, again, recommends to all their shops that you're planning 3 months ahead with all of your marketing so you can avoid those extreme seasonal fluctuations in revenue or even weekly fluctuations in revenue. At AutoVitals, our goal for shops is to make it really easy for you to continually market to your clients without you having to pick up the phone or configure a special report every single time you want to send an email or a text. So our automated service reminders leverage the past inspection results. That means due by time or mileage, your customers are automatically going to get a service reminder via text or email that shows them, hey, your vehicle is due for service. Here's the actual images and results from your past inspection of everything that was deferred or declined. Is now a good time to get you in for those declined services. For instance, 2 months ago, you declined to get your shocks and struts. Here's a picture. Here's an explanation and a video of why it's important to replace your shocks and struts. Is now a good time. Next, we have email and text marketing campaigns. The great thing about this is we have hundreds of pre-built campaigns within our system. So if you're a shop, you're busy, you don't want to focus on marketing, you can go in and just pre-select one of the campaigns. You can filter your customer base and, again, get those out automatically. Very little effort on your part. If you do want to do a custom campaign, all of our shops are assigned a dedicated customer success advisor. They're more than happy to help you configure a custom campaign, again, so you can just be sending out these reoccurring reminders and stay top of mind with your clients. You can do specials, discounts, seasonal updates, whatever you want to do, whatever you can imagine you can do within our CRM. And then last, but certainly not least, this is becoming ever more popular with our shops, is our loyalty program. This is a great way to incentivize repeat business and reward your loyal customers. It is completely customizable, again, so you can determine how much loyalty points folks are earning for specific purchases. You can exclude specific purchases from earning loyalty points, et cetera. You can set the points conversion value. Again, we want this loyalty program to work for your shops. Additionally, something that a lot of our customers love is that you can send loyalty points for a customer that refers someone else to your business. So you can start tracking those word of mouth referrals. And then again, rewarding your best referrers. All right, this is my last slide before I hand it back over to John. And again, one of the most important slides that we're going to talk about is how we can help shops raise their labor rate. Now, a lot of the shops that I know ATI works with and that we work with as well undervalue their own services and their labor. Now, it's challenging and we get it because number one, it is expensive today. Labor is expensive, parts are more expensive. Stocking the bathroom with toilet paper is more expensive than it used to be 10 years ago, 5 years ago, right? So it is more and more important every single year to make sure that your labor rate is reflective of the fair market price and that it's high enough that your shop can actually make money. One of the common things that we hear from shops when they're thinking about raising their labor rate, maybe they've been talking to their ATI coach and they come to us and are like, yeah, we're going to increase our labor rate. We're a little nervous about it. Is because you're shops scared of losing customers to the shop that's down the street that might be less expensive, et cetera. Maybe they're afraid that their customers are going to go to one of those quick lube chains. And then last but certainly not least, the service advisors in the business might not be trained on the value and reasoning behind why you're increasing your labor rate. The great news for everyone on this call is that a recent study by Forbes found that the vast majority of the customers that are on the road today, which are millennials and Gen Z, the vast majority of them are more likely to want to pay for a higher great customer experience. They're fine paying more money if the customer experience and service is better than they're going to get somewhere that is less expensive. So what this tells everyone on the call and shops is that if you have a rock solid customer experience and your customers love your business, it is okay to be more expensive than the shop down the street because customers are more likely to pick a shop that has great customer service. Now, a few of the ways that we help with this is digital vehicle inspections. If you go to any of the reviews of shops that are using AutoVitals, almost every single one of their Google reviews from their customers talks about how much they like the digital inspection. Folks love getting a digital vehicle inspection report because it shows them that the shop is going the extra mile for them, is really invested in their vehicle's health and safety, and it takes a lot of the pressure and salesiness off of the experience for most customers when they're going into an auto repair shop. On top of the digital vehicle inspections, we also have automated vehicle status updates. This is a great feature that when the shop is in the bays and when the car is in the bays and going through the shop's workflow steps, that the customer can be automatically notified of, hey, the inspection is complete. Hey, the estimate's ready for your review. Hey, your vehicle's ready for pickup. This reduces a lot of the anxiety customers feel when their vehicle is in the shop. And then last but certainly not least, we also offer, like I had mentioned before, proactive service reminders. Again, these are just little things that you can add to your business to show customers that you're going the extra mile for them. And that's why your labor rate might be higher than the shop. And then shop down the street. And then not something that AutoVitals helps with, but I know that ATI talks about a lot, is make sure you're advertising that you have ASE certified technicians and that you're doing great work for your customers. Because again, customers are going to want to know that, hey, again, part of the reason why I might be paying more at this shop is because they have the best technicians in town and they're going to do the best work on my vehicle. All right, John, I'm going to hand it over to you for the last couple of slides.
All right. Thanks, boss. So couple of points to wrap up. We've talked a lot about how to execute on some of these things. We've talked a lot about what the benefits are to your end customers. But internal, and we talk about transparency with the customer, with what we might call the motorist. But team transparency and managing your team is really one of the most important aspects of leveraging this technology. And again, I know that this does and really should resonate with you as coaches or as shop owners who want to make sure you're getting as much out of the coaching relationship as possible. So, the beauty of walking your team through, having team meetings or having individual meetings and kind of walking them through some of these things is you have shared goals, right? So a really great team meeting will ensure that the team has the ability to give input on, gee, I think this is going to work really well as we're adopting these best practices, or I think it's really important that we consider this, or maybe there's a disagreement or not an alignment between how the shop manager or the shop owner wants to do things or what they think is most important and the team. But the beauty of it is by having these conversations kind of brings that to the surface and allows the person running the shop to work through that and really get people in the shop on board. This is one of my favorites. By focusing on the data, it really takes the emotion out of the management of those employees and out of those shop employees. So if you can agree on what the goals are, like, yeah, hey, does it make sense that we're going to shoot for an inspection rate of this or this average number of pictures? Do we all understand the data? Do we see, the difference in the outcomes that we're going to get if we're adopting? And again, this goes for anything ATI is doing, but I'm really just putting it in the context of our tools and our solutions. If you can all agree on these shared goals, then going through the results of those in a group, ideally, or individually, that should be completely non-emotional. It's like, hey, we agreed that this would be great. And if we executed to this level of adoption or this level of performance, and hey, it looks like we did, and that's really great. And look at the results we got. That's awesome. Or, gee, we kind of missed the mark on these things. I think we agreed. It's really important. Let's get back to making sure that we're doing that. Right? It's totally non-personal. It ends up being like, we're just looking at the data together. We're talking about what we agreed on, what we did, and what we didn't end up doing. And then it really allows you to celebrate the wins. So going through the data, it's not a way of beating your team members over the head or beating your shops over the head. It really ends up being a great way of celebrating the wins, right? So, well, we may have been a little short on this part, but awesome job on taking this number of pictures or this number of edits or using the chat, the internal chat, to make sure that we don't have service advisors and technicians running back and forth from the front to back and back to front, right? So it becomes really objective. That's a word that we love to use around here. It takes the emotion out, and then everybody can really kind of get behind it, especially when they can see the great results that either the whole shop is getting or individuals in the shop are getting. They're the ones who have really adopted the best practices, right? Lauren alluded to this earlier, but again, when I think about ways that AutoVitals and ATI really align, every shop owner of ours, every client gets a dedicated advisor, right? And so that means you're talking to Shelby for the next 3 years, right? Or you're talking to Steve. Steve knows your business. They're an advisor. They're invested in the success of the shop, on the shop continuing to use our tools and use the best practices and their ARO going up. They have every reason in the world to do that. That's exactly how ATI is, right? So there's a company worth of best practices, but you're going to work with Greg, or you're going to work with Rachel, or you're going to work with Kevin, or whoever it ends up being. You're going to work with folks over and over and over. And, we think a lot of software companies, it's understandable. It's kind of their business model is they give you access to some tools. They give you some videos. If you have questions or issues, you kind of go into this group pool of people that could maybe help you out. And that's fine, but you're not going to get the results from having somebody dedicated. Imagine ATI took the same approach. Imagine ATI said, yeah, great. Every time you have a question about the training materials that we sent over to you and the videos you were going to watch, we'll just put you in a pool and somebody, one of the 10 of us or 20 of us is going to help. And you're just not going to, yeah, it's great. It's probably great for the tech company. They probably earn more money, have less people helping, but they're not really invested in the success of the shop. And that's why we've taken this kind of much more hands-on, one-on-one approach because with shops, because we think that gets them the results that they want, which gets them to use our solutions for the next 5 to 10 years. Okay. So what's the data that's available to shop owners as well as to ATI coaches? So there's 40 plus KPIs that are available in the AutoVitals BCP Business Control Panel. If you know what those are, great. If you don't, and you need any training on AutoVitals or how to leverage it, again, whether you're a shop or you're a coach, I'll talk about that on the next slide. We're also integrating these, 7, 8, 10 data points into the ATI portal. So we're in kind of beta and testing on that right now. And but you'll be able to see these key points. You as a coach and you as a shop owner, you'll also be able to get them in ATI. And when you want to go a level deeper and see, okay, I understand how many pictures we're taking on average. Yeah, we're doing great on that, and we need more. But I want to see who in my shop is taking lots of pictures or who's not, who needs a little bit more hand holding or incentive or whatnot. That's all going to show up. The high level data will be in the ATI portal, and then you'll be able to just click right over and get into AutoVitals. And then, so what are the key takeaways? ATI, the ATI strategies and coaching is awesome on its own. And we combine it with tools like AutoVitals, it becomes even that much more kind of executable, so to speak. And then you end up getting the results, even more of the results that you're looking for, which I think is a big part of the reason that so many of the ATI coaches are really closely linked into and really on top of the ATI tool, the AutoVitals tools, or whatever tools your shop happens to be using. We just think that we do a really good job of supporting that. Digital tools, as Lauren talked about, will close the execution gaps. And the data is going to make it a lot easier for shop owners and shop employees, and of course, coaches to take advantage of them and actually get the results they want, right? Because having a lot of conversations about what's possible is a good step along the road. But again, we call this a shop success solution. We call it we talk about success because we don't really care about, the adoption of the tool is great. We want to see what the shop considers to be a success. Higher ARO, enabling them to open more locations and more shops. Maybe being able to spend less time on the business, maybe being able to better hand the business down to a family member or an employee or whatever the case is, right? Drive up the top line, drive up profitability. You need great strategies, you need the right tools, and then you need the data that kind of helps you figure that out. So anybody who wants to learn more, obviously, if you're on the shop side, feel free to, go to autovitals.com demo or email to sales.autovitals.com. Or anybody, whether you're a shop or you're a coach, feel free to email or message Lauren or me or anybody else that's over here. Really appreciate the time and really value the partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And or go into overdrive. It's in there too. So
absolutely.
We say
that's
that.
right.
Okay. So
right.
Thank you, John and Lauren.